Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And the pistol that we have on the workbench today is definitely something cool and different. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Arcadia machine and tool, otherwise known as AMT Automag III chambered in .30 carbine. And this is a 1911 inspired pistol. It functions a little bit different than your standard 1911s, but chambered in .30 carbine, the caliber of the M1 carbine from World War II, and it looks really cool with this super long slide on it. Made of stainless steel? Yeah, this thing is definitely different. And it does fascinate me, and I can't wait to get it to the range and shoot it. Now, when I showed this off on the Texas Gun Vault 2, my behind the scenes channel, many of my viewers over there warned me about two things. They first said, that thing is going to be a flamethrower. It's going to have a huge flash on it, which I kind of suspected it would, because .30 carbine really is more of a rifle caliber than a handgun caliber. And they also told me these were known for having spotty reliability, and to watch out for that. So who knows, this thing may work well or it could be a complete dud. Now, AMT is a company that I was aware of. In fact, I've always wanted to own one of their 1911s, otherwise known as the hardballers, mainly because they were featured predominantly in a video game called Hitman. I've always wanted to clone the pistol from that game. But AMT was known by the ATF as one of the Ring of Fire companies, and essentially these were companies known to make cheap Saturday night specials that ended up at crime scenes. And I have reviewed some of those guns in the past from companies like Raven Arms. However, AMT I have never looked at as a company that made cheap guns. They may not have made the most reliable guns, but all of their guns were pretty expensive, and they're really expensive today on the used market because they're all collector's pistols, and they seem to be well designed and well made. So I never understood why they got that moniker, but we're going to find out once again once we get this thing to the range. But before we get this to the range, as always, I want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this really cool and rare pistol. His name is Jack. In fact, he's the second person named Jack that has lent guns to the channel, so I affectionately call him Jack number 2. So Jack, thank you once again. I always want to thank my Patreon supporters, because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here, and I couldn't keep this content coming without them. And if you guys want to join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month and get to see all of these videos early, there will be a link in the description below. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor, who always provides the ammunition for these range reports, thus making them financially feasible for me, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And I know if you're here watching a review of a gun like an Automag III, well, this is a 1911 inspired gun, and most likely you have a fascination with 1911s just like I do. And you'd like to trick out your 1911 with a great set of customized grips. Well, I have the perfect grip company for you, Brownworks. Brownworks is a custom grip company making a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. Mark is an artist. He's a craftsman. He can make grips out of laminate woods, exotic woods. He can apply custom logos, custom textures, finish them in a wide variety of colors, and he can even apply exotic materials such as snake skin and alligator skin to your grips to make them unique and one of a kind. Every grip is made to order, and every one is unique. So I'm going to ask you guys to go over to his website and see everything that he has to offer. Anything you can imagine, he can make. So please contact Mark, and when you make that first order, use the discount code that I'm going to put in the comment section below to get 10% off your first order. And when you order that set of customized grips, please tell Mark the Texas Gun Vault sent you. Alright, so once again, what's the gun we're taking a look at today? The AMT Automag III. There's the markings on the side. AMT became a company around 1977, and they were also one of the first companies to make 1911 style guns and 1911s in stainless steel. And I love stainless steel guns. They were known to have some reliability issues in some of the different models that they had, and this particular model was made between 1992 and 2001. It has a weight of 43 ounces and a barrel length of 6.37 inches. So it's definitely a long slide pistol. I don't think it's necessarily designed for competition shooting that you would normally see these long sides designed for. However, I think it's this size because of the caliber. This thing is supposed to be a flamethrower, and I'm assuming the longer barrel is supposed to mitigate that a little bit. So before we get this to the range, let's talk about what I like and don't like. And as always, I want to start off with the positive first. And the first thing I love about this gun is that it is made of stainless steel. In fact, I think all of the AMT guns were made of stainless steel. And they were doing this way before many other companies were doing this. They were kind of forward thinking. I don't think they were the first company, but stainless steel is just, in my opinion, a great metal to make 1911 guns out of. They're easy to maintain, they're easy to clean. If you get them scuffed, they're easy to fix. It's just a great material. And they also don't corrode very easy like blued pistols. So stainless just has that right look for me. Another thing about this gun that makes it a little bit different than your standard 1911 is the safety. Now this does have a slide mounted safety, which I do like, but unlike a Beretta 92, when you engage the safety, it does not decock the hammer. Essentially, it adds a firing pin block that you can see right there, and so when that block is down, you can safely fire the gun and it will not go off, and you can carry this cocked and locked if that's the way you wanted to carry it, if you wanted to carry a gun of this size. They also gave us some very nice adjustable sights in the rear for windage and elevation. They seem to be constructed well. We got lots of markings on them. The front sight is a typical blade sight. And finally, the thing I noticed about this gun that was really interesting, and why I say I don't think this company really was a ring of fire company, because this trigger does seem to be very exceptional. It's very light, it's very crisp. It doesn't really have a wall, and I'll talk about that a little bit in just a moment, but it does seem to be very, very light. In fact, from the way it feels, it kind of feels like a target trigger. But let me go ahead and adjust the camera. Let me get out the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge, and let's see what this trigger is all about. So let's get a close-up look of this trigger in this AMT Automag III, and let's get some data on the trigger pull. As always, let's start by dropping the magazine, ensuring there is no ammunition in it, and then of course safety checking the firearm, ensuring there is no ammunition in the chamber, and it looks like we are good. So let me go ahead and show you this trigger pull here. The only complaint I really have about it is that it doesn't have a very firm wall. When you push this back, you're not 100% sure where it's going to break, but that gives it a very light feel. So once again, here's the reset. Pretty darn short, and you're right back at what I would call the wall, but it's not very predictable, but it is light, and the whole trigger mechanism is pretty darn smooth. All right, so let me get out the gauge here. Let me turn it on, clear the averages, and let's see what this trigger is all about. With our first pull here, 4 pounds, 12.9 ounces. Four pounds, 6.9 ounces. 4 pounds, 14.0 ounces. 4 pounds, 10.7 ounces. And finally, we have 4 pounds, 9.5 ounces, which gives us an average of 4 pounds, 10.8 ounces. And I will tell you, from pulling this trigger, it feels lighter than this. The take-up is very smooth and the reset is very short. Overall, I like this trigger a lot. It's not too heavy, but not too light. In fact, I think it's right in that sweet spot. So this is a really good trigger for what this gun is. All right, so let's get back to the rest of this range report, and let's talk about a couple things about this pistol I may not like as much as some other things. And as you can see, the trigger in this pistol is pretty darn nice. I'm very impressed with it because I have heard bad things about these guns, but the trigger seems to be exceptional. All right, so now let's talk about a couple things about this pistol that I don't like. And really, just having it here on the workbench, there's only a couple of things. The first thing is the grip size. Now, obviously, .30 carbine is a long cartridge, and so we have a very long grip here. Not length, but in width. From the front strap to the back strap, and even with my larger hands, I really don't feel like I get a good grip on this pistol. It's just very, very long. The length of pull is quite substantial. Now, as I said, I understand this is a longer cartridge, but I don't think it needs to be that long. The other thing I don't like is the capacity. Now, I know this is based off of a 1911, and those are single stack, and this gun comes from a different day and age where people didn't care about stagger stack or double stack, but .30 carbine is not that wide of a cartridge, and I really feel like they could have staggered this and gave us a little bit more capacity than just 8 rounds and not really had to deal with the width of the grip at all. But those are just two minor gripes. This is a very specialty gun, so probably the capacity and the grip size will not matter to many people. But those are just some things that I noticed about the gun handling it here on the workbench. All right, so now it is time for the moment of truth. Let's get this thing to the range and let's see how it shoots. Is it gonna shoot fireballs like everyone says it will? Well, honestly, I am a little bit nervous. We are going to put a rifle caliber into a pistol, so I have no idea what to expect. So as always, I'm going to load up one of these magazines. And by the way, I have limited .30 carbine ammunition, so I'm not going to shoot this gun too much. I have to be very careful with the ammunition because I don't have a lot of it. But I will load up the first magazine and see what this gun is all about. I'll set up the target at 7 yards. And hopefully it's not going to be too much of a beast to control. So let's go to the range and find out. And that was definitely not the results I was expecting. Let me tell you, I know on camera this thing looks like it is a flamethrower, and actually it really is. But when it comes to the recoil, it's really light and smooth. The bark of this gun is way bigger than the bite. This is really a very fun gun to shoot. I'm very surprised by that. I was really expecting this thing to have a lot of recoil, but it really has less recoil than a .45 1911. As for its accuracy, it's okay. I think the size of the grip is affecting it just a little bit. And also, I was expecting this thing to hit a little bit harder than it was. So maybe I was anticipating the shots just a little bit. But so far, it's running good with no hiccups. It seems to be decently accurate, and it's a lot of fun to shoot. Wow. All right, so let's double the distance on this target. I'm going to go for the head on this IDPA silhouette, see what happens to this group, and see if there's anything else about this gun that I discover that I like or don't like, and I'll report back to you. And pretty much I have the exact same comments that I had in the first shooting portion of this range report. I will say the flash is a little bit distracting, however, it is kind of cool. Normally I don't like guns with big flashes. But this one, considering what it is, I really think it kind of makes the gun. And really the report of the gun is not that loud. As I said, it looks like it's going to be way more powerful in the hands and from the concussion than what it actually is. It's a very smooth shooting gun. And once again, I've had zero issues with it. It really is a nice gun despite what people were telling me. I'm kind of really falling in love with this thing. All right, so the next test I'm going to do is the barrier or bench test. And I'm going to put out the target at about 20 or 25 yards. I want to take as much of the human element out of the equation as possible and just see what type of accuracy I can get with this pistol. So let's go back to the range, put another magazine through this, and see how it does. And for the most part, I think it has decent accuracy, and at my range, it's very dimly lit, and I can't always see where these rounds are impacting the target until I bring the target in. And so it is shooting a little bit to the left, and I think I can adjust that with the rear sight, and upon inspection here on the workbench, it does look like it does need a little bit of adjustment. The ammunition I'm also using in this range report is made by Tool Ammo in Russia. It's the steel case stuff, and it's probably not the most consistently loaded ammunition in the world. So I really feel like if you get this sighted in right and you have some really nice ammunition, this is probably going to be an exceptionally accurate pistol. Way better than what I'm demonstrating here on film. All right, because I have such limited ammunition, the next test I want to do is just shoot this thing fast. I can only imagine the fireballs this thing is about to expel. But let's go back to the range and let's see how fast I can dump one of these magazines. And it appears I only have one of these magazines in the box, which, by the way, we have the original box. That's pretty cool. And it's my understanding that these magazines are really hard to come by and they're very expensive. So I can't do a quick magazine change test. But I do want to see if I can shoot this thing fast. So let's go back to the range and let's see what type of fireballs we can get out of this. And it looks like we've had our first issue. It looks like after about 2 or 3 rounds, the slide is locking open. But what's causing that? I really feel like it's going to be the slide stop. I did notice if I drop the magazine and pull it back to where the slide stop would engage the slide, that the spring that pushes down on the slide stop isn't very strong. So maybe under a lot of recoil or fast recoil, it's locking the slide open. I don't think it's a feeding issue because once I just pull the slide back, it goes home and loads the next round. Well, I do have a little bit of ammunition left, so I want to try this one more time, and hopefully I'll get a better result. So let's go back to the range and see if I can get this thing to dump 8 rounds as fast as I can. And hey, we got it to run right. This thing is awesome, and man, does this thing throw the fireballs. But surprisingly, as I said, it's low recoiling and very pleasant to shoot, and normally I don't like guns with big flashes. The report of the gun is not that loud. It's just a great shooting pistol, and really this gun is a very fun pistol to shoot. I am impressed with it, and it did exceed my expectations. And maybe that's because so many people on the Texas Gun Vault 2 told me this gun is not going to run right. But it ran great for me, with the exception of just that quick mag dump test, but I got it to run the second time, so who knows, that might have just been a fluke. So what are my final thoughts on this pistol? This thing is really cool. It is interesting. I did not think I would come away in this range report loving this pistol as much as I do. And yes, this is going to be a novelty pistol. It's kind of a gimmicky pistol, but it's definitely a cool pistol, and it does intrigue me. And I think if you're a fan of AMT and all of their crazy 1911 inspired pistols, this is just a must-have for any collector. It shoots great. I can see where with the right ammunition and getting the sights dialed in, this gun would probably be exceptionally accurate. So on my star system, how would I rate the AMT Automag III in .30 carbine? Well, I didn't think I would love this pistol as much as I do, and it exceeded my expectations. And I even got over the fact the grip is really big. It kind of works. I like it. It's getting 5 out of 5 stars. This is a perfect review, and I wasn't expecting that. This is a really, really cool firearm, and I never thought that I would get to shoot .30 carbine out of a semi-automatic pistol. But here we are, and AMT did it. I kind of wish there were companies today producing a pistol like this, because I didn't think this caliber would work well in a gun like this. So what do you guys think? Do you like AMT? Have you ever heard of the AMT series of guns in the past and the Automags? I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you've shot them, did they run as well as this one did? Because as I said, many people said it wasn't going to run well. But this one did, and it was a lot of fun. So let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.